Welcome to episode 5 of Towerhand Happy Hour. I'm Chad,
I'm Boone.
and today we are going to do what we normally do on our podcast is we're going to have a discussion.
Me personally, so I was a millwright and iron worker prior to being in the industry. We got laid off, and I actually ran into a guy at the bar, Mr. Shane Thomas, who's no longer in the industry. He was a PM for a company, and I had my welding stuff on. I was welding that day, doing some side work, and he's like, "You a welder?" I'm like, yeah. Like, scared of heights? No. Climb a tower before? Actually, I have. We did some grain silos and like some communication stuff that when I was an iron worker. He's like, "You want a job? I'm laid off. Sure, why not?" And that'll be what 13. It's 13 years now.
Yeah, speaking of that, I need to have a talk with Mr. St. Thomas because he cost my crews a week, or I'm sorry, a day last week.
No trench box or what?
Oh no, he's not doing that anymore. But he decided that they had been sleeping for too many hours and hadn't had enough to drink for a while. So I lost my crew for a day.
Yeah. You'll have those big jobs.
Thanks, Shane. If you're watching, thank you.
Keep it classy.
I remember discussions about crews being out way too late, and so apparently it's probably payback for me.
Yeah.
Came several years later, but it came.
We actually had a discussion with me and an owner of a company we won't talk about, and a new guy who's getting in the industry, talking about the hot dog trick that me and Mr. Reeves pulled on a gentleman in Chicago.
Yeah,
remember the hot dog trick?
I remember hearing about that.
Oh yeah, I saw the video. Should never be released.
You fool.
It's on a computer that only I have the passcode to, and it barely works. So good luck. I'm sure if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, I got into the industry when I first started up here in the tower industry. There wasn't as much going on as there is now.
Yeah.
But it was, it's funny because it was something that I never planned on doing for more than maybe a summer, maybe 2 summers. It was never anything I wanted to stick around and do. But I got good at it, and I couldn't have done it without a couple things. I spoke a couple episodes ago about the owner let me bust everything 3 times, and I had good crews around me, which is not really that true. For a while, I didn't have that great of a crew around me, but this is where we get into stuff about how you make these guys better, how you educate yourself. And I'd like to say their first bit of education was watching me break things 3 times over. And they were patient with me. They believed in me, because you don't just get born into a crew leader role. I spent a long time as being a top hand, and man, I loved it. I aside from the everyday climb and the injuries and sometimes being on the rig by yourself in certain situations, whether it's 3-man crew or whether you need, a guy on the cat head, 2 guys tagging, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my top hand's my favorite position.
You're adamant about that.
Yeah, it's not my favorite one to work anymore. I'm getting too old for that, but but yeah, it's an elite position. And
hold on, do you agree with me the top hand should be paid more than the crew leader?
Well, I mean, it's something I've been kind of saying for years.
It's certain aspects. I think the top hand should always be paid more than the crew leader.
Well, okay.
Job don't get done unless he gets it done.
I don't necessarily.
But I also say the crew leader. The crew leader's job title is to get the job done as safely and as quickly as possible. So that means he has to be on the tower.
Okay, but wait.
Get your butt up there.
For several years, I was saying that the top hand should be the highest paid crew member. The only thing that I was not considering though is the fact that the crew chief, despite what he does, whether he's not a climber hardly at all, or definitely not an everyday climber, the crew chief still takes full responsibility. So if that top hand messes up, it's on the crew leader. I mean, it's similar to you owning a business, and a guy that makes you all the money wants to get paid just as much as you get paid. You're assuming all the liability. Whereas that's how you get in as being a crew chief, is you assume the entire amount of liability, because let's face it, you are the competent man on the crew.
I know I've been suspended twice because the crew leader threw me under the bus. So, and it wasn't my fault. It was his fault. So yeah, I agree with that.
So, I mean,
I owned my mistake, and I took accountability for it. And I went to the casino and played blackjack that week and made more money than I would during the week anyway. So yeah. Whatever. Gotta love it.
You think you're Stu Unger or something? Stu the Kid Unger?
Yeah.
So, but watching the industry right now, the top hands' responsibilities are different than they used to be. They do take on a heavier role. What the problem I see, and that's never changed, is the fact that it's easier to train a Tech 1 who's typically on the ground, while the Tech 2 and the top hand are on the rig. So we saw for years where we would see an actual Tech 1, we would talk about it. How's this guy in the industry for 1 year? All of a sudden he's a crew chief.
Oh, dude, seen it too many times.
Okay,
now.
so, but again, this is the and how many top hands do you see get bypassed for the job? It used to be a lot. And you can understand why, because
they were a good top hand and they couldn't afford to have them off the tower.
Right. So when it came time to test anything, the Tech 1 or Tech 2, depending on who was on the tower, if they're rotating turns, they were the first ones to be able to see how the testing was conducted. They could look over the crew chief's shoulder. They understood what the ground needed. So now you've taken, if you're Tech 2, top hand's an everyday climber, you're Tech 1. If he's smart, he learns every bit of the ground. And next thing you know, hey, give him some sweep gear. This guy knows what he's doing. Give him the PIM gear. This guy knows how to set it up, knows how to calibrate it, and he knows what he's doing.
So coming back to, the crew leaders, becoming a crew leader within a year of being in the industry or just getting into the industry, I used to be really anti that. I used to hate it. But now, since majority of things are just plug and play, change out radios, change out antennas, fiber stuff. When I was the instructor at that school, it was 3 weeks long. And by the time they came out of that program, they had more certs than the crew leader usually did, the company they went and worked for. I know right now, I think there's 5 or 6 guys that I trained that are already crew leaders. And so now I understand it, because they were actually good guys in that class. They paid attention, they learned quickly and they evolved quickly, and they established a name for themselves. And, granted, they don't know everything and they're set on one task and that's it, but they're kicking ass and taking names,
Good. That's real good. The only thing you're missing at that point is just the experience of it all. That can be overcome. I mean, that can be overcome. It used to be that as a top hand, you had to see it all. And once you could see it all, you could relay the information to your guy when you become a crew chief. But again, like we spoke about a few episodes ago, that can be relayed using a smartphone anymore. If you don't know what it is, I mean, the guy in the tower could damn near Google this shit and figure out what this 12-inch by 8-inch by 6-inch thick Ericsson box is up on the tower, and they've got it.
And FaceTime. People use FaceTime all the time. If I had guys on the tower, or guys were on different sites, even like students I had, they're like, hey, I'm having an issue here. And they'd FaceTime. I always tell them to FaceTime me or, Skype me. Let me see the problem. And I'd be able to walk them right through it. And one guy called me, he was in Florida and I was up here in Iowa, walked him right through. He said, thanks, dude. And that was it. Technology is awesome, in our favor. We didn't have that back in the day. It was all right, let's take 3 hours and figure this out.
Well, now we got our friends out there creating it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was reading about the just today, as a matter of fact, about the OSS, bringing the way we are bringing the broadcast towers information to Apple TV, Roku TV, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So we can create our local stations. So we actually, it's funny that we didn't expect broadcast to go away so quick. And then now it's making a huge comeback because they are supplying, yeah, I wasn't trying to get too far off, what we were speaking of, but we're creating that. I mean, pat yourself on the back, guys. Congratulate yourselves. We're it takes more than just the engineers to do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what did you like more, or what did you like most about working out in the field? Did you like stacking, LNA, line changeouts, plumb tensions? What was your favorite thing?
In most cases, I like the guy tower stacks, the brand new ones.
Mm-hmm.
I like to take something out of nothing. And when we drove away, we got a brand new finished, product. But what I didn't like about it was the time spent. I mean, you had to be gone. Not too bad. We handled a lot of stacks, and then a crew came by and added the radios, or I'm sorry, the transmission lines and stuff.
Yeah.
The grounds, but we would add the antennas, jumpers. Wouldn't even dress them in. We just get it ready for them. We have sector frames up there, antennas plumbed, ready to go. So
wave guide, whatever, if you needed to.
Yeah, so a 300-foot stack we'd have done with the gin pole. We'd have it done within a week.
Yeah. Yep.
But we wouldn't just have one. We would run a 2-week rotation out of it. So you pretty much couldn't. 12-day rotation, however you want to look at it. But we pretty much didn't come home until we had 2 of them done. Yeah. And at one time we had a lot of them. We did.
You got too far ahead, and you had to go back and pull lines and antennas. I remember that happened
a couple times. But that was usually a company wanting to put it on this quarter's. It wasn't on us. It was on the carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every now and then that happened, but not too often. So. There for a long while, I didn't do line and antennas hardly at all.
No,
which made a lot of sense. I mean, we could keep rolling.
Yeah. It's summertime. I love like pathing, like dish work or stacking. Because you're, it's simple. Wintertime, let's keep moving. Let's stacking. I guess falls along those lines too, because you're always moving. But line antenna work. I'd be the guy that said, screw it. You set the head of the line. I'll run down that 60 feet and set the grip and snap everything in, just because I wanted to be able to stay warm. That constant moving.
We were stacking even in the wintertime. Using the gin pole. That was a long day's worth of prep. Just ice on the cables. You run that ice to that shiv and it'll hop it right off there.
Getting the winch warmed up, getting it started.
I had too many problems with that.
I did.
No, I didn't have too many problems with that. As long as you ran it the day before, and then as long as you took the right steps to get it started. But I understand those winches weren't getting any newer either.
No. You should see a new winch I just saw yesterday. The company just got. It's fancy.
Yeah.
Brand new, like $96,000, something like that. It's fancy. I like it.
Those drums alone could, depending on what kind you get and how big they are, those drums alone can be worth that.
Yeah. It's, it's got the whole like load cal on there, the it's all digital and stuff with the anti-2 block. And it's, I was like, damn, that is nice. That's like, hell yeah, I can run it.
Biggest problem I ever had with those is when those static fingers would seize up.
Oh yeah.
The internal static fingers that would lock it to prevent the drum from despooling. Yeah. They're powerful though.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It used to be the old style with tractor head winches with a car wheel on them.
Yeah.
Use the farm all with the front PTO. You have the lever out in front of you.
Yeah.
And you could the lock handle and the lever to spool out, to bring back.
Yep.
But man, you'd always want to tie them things off.
Yeah.
They were fast though. Man, you could
Yeah.
you could run a set, you could run a hardware set of nose bags up 1,500 feet in just seconds. I mean, they were I had a rope getaway on me on one of them, and I thought I could save it. But it burned a rut through my left hand that it was worst rope burn. It was the worst rope burn I've ever seen. The guys showed me rope burns today. I'm like, that's nothing. I mean, it went down to my bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember doing that decom on that MCI tower? And I said, I don't have the rope on the capstan yet, so hold on. And one of the guys just cut free like 4 inch and 5s all the way at the top. And I heard grab the rope, trying to save it and get it on the cat head. And it burnt. Oh, that sucked. That was like the worst 2 weeks of my life, just trying to get that healed up. Because I still had to work, so I was still climbing. But every time you climbed, every day you just reopen the wound,
I remember at the MCI tower thing I remembered was when we were doing the LTE decom, or the decom to get ready for LTE there.
Yeah,
and we were tagging the lines, and the one colored zip tie means you remove, and the other color meant you keep them there. And I flipped those zip ties around, and you and Eric were outside there, and I was laughing, and I watched you guys pull that line away from the porthole, and I heard Eric go, "Oh no!" And then I heard you.
Did he push it back in?
Then all of a sudden, I saw the line come pushing right back into the porthole like he didn't make it.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was
nothing to see here.
No, I just couldn't believe it. I'm laughing. And I hear him go, "Oh no." And I hear you guys outside talking. Then I see the inch and 5 come right back to the hole where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what did you do? And I was like, I'm almost certain that this is the right line. Well, look at the zip tie. I'm like, no. I'm saying he's.
Oh no. So yeah, we've gotten away from what got us in the industry, but that's okay. There's not too much to talk about on there. The way I've seen the industry change is, it used to be, management took everything on, and it's kind of almost back there right now, but the training, and we've talked about it a lot. There is so much training going on.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they put all that together and what we get out of it. But some of you guys, I've heard stories where some of you guys came from before the industry, and we've had police officers, we've had, obviously construction workers, a lot of roofers,
iron workers,
prisoners,
bell hops, convicts. What's that one dude? Didn't he go to jail or prisoner for like murder or something like that, or manslaughter or something? That he worked for with us.
I worked with a guy, we called him 180 over at Murphy Tower, and he did almost 20 years in the pen. He shot a guy.
Yeah.
I guess he used the 22 and shot him in the hip, and the bullet ricocheted all throughout his body and finally killed him. And some he claimed was just an accident, but he did his time. He got out of the pen. He did a lot of civils for us, and but man, I've seen all kinds come through here.
Yeah. It's like I've said this before. Doing all that training and stuff that I did. Do a lot of schooling. Some of the characters you see walk in those doors, you're like, what the hell? Yeah, it's comical. We always have this, the stereotypical tower hand. He's got a Red Bull in one hand, a Red Bull in the back pocket, pack of cigarettes, boots unlaced, and he's walking in hungover still from the night before, And then you got the project manager. Hey, when's tea time? When's golf and tea time?
Not fair.
Hey. We had remember that little Fisher Price golf kit? It said project manager starter kit.
You know what really shocked me was I shouldn't say shocked me, but it was funny. We used to work for a company that had a lot of crews.
Yeah.
And I always said to myself, if I ever had to, this is gonna be unfair to a lot of these guys here. I'm just talking this kind of to be funny, but if I really ever really wanted to drug test anybody, it would be the guys that didn't come into the office, that didn't come into the shop. You see these top hands, man, they were loading the trailers and working away.
Yeah.
The last thing they wanted to do was be anywhere near that office.
Yeah.
And then you see the guys who were clean, they'd hang out in the office, they do whatever. But top hands, they wanted to get
They always had their backpack they always had their backpack or their lunch pail with them.
Well,
they always hid their fucking clean piss in there.
And their trailer was loaded an hour before any of the office employees got there,
Yep. Let's get out of here quick. Hurry up.
Look at these top hands. Look at these guys move. Holy shit, these guys I can't believe they're already ready. You should be ready like they are, and their trucks rolling out while the office employees are coming in. Hey,
yeah.
Hey, isn't that Bill? Wasn't Bill supposed to get a random today? Not anymore. No, sorry, Bill's gone.
Yeah, Bill's already 100 miles down the road. He left at 3:00 this morning. He was tipped off.
Yeah, so that was the that was the industry. That's been years ago, but
that was the good old days, That was the old fun days. This industry's still fun, but man, it's changed so much.
It's different.
It's probably because all the, laws, or not laws, but standards we have now. We didn't follow any of that stuff back in the day.
Well, I'll ask you.
I remember that 12-foot dish top of the tower.
Oh yeah, tagged out through
the goddamn
across the highway.
Across the highway, pinned up against the power lines. Just kick it off the star mount to get it down.
If you did everything you did back in the day, whether it was at the hotel room, job site, it really doesn't even hardly matter anymore. And the guy next to you that you didn't get along with, or that you were sketched out, you didn't trust.
Yeah.
Would you have done hardly any of that, knowing he's got a recordable device on him that could have caught you doing everything?
Oh, no. No. Hell no.
It used to be, but then it goes back to guys that I wouldn't want on my crew because I couldn't trust. And I'm not saying that I was doing stuff bad that I'm going to get caught with. I'm just saying that, when you don't trust a guy, you don't know what the guy can say, not say, if he's going to be there the next morning.
No.
I used to take guys with me that weren't, so I had myself, and for years I had A-Train as my top hand. I had Roach, I had whatever, but that final guy, that I'd have sometimes may not be the fastest guy you'd have. He may not be the best guy you had, but you could trust him. He was at the truck at 7 a.m. every morning, 6:45. He was going to get the job done right. And
yep.
I mean, bottom line, you trusted the guy. So could you be quicker with somebody else? Yeah. But did it help me sleep at night? No. I mean, I took guys with me that I could trust.
Yep.
And I've been saying this for years, that my most important tool that I had was not my harness, was not my hard hat. It was having somebody that had my back.
Yeah.
Huge in this industry.
100%, and maintaining that, someone's integrity,
Well, but this falls back, I think, on camaraderie,
Yeah, camaraderie.
You can't have camaraderie without trust.
Exactly. 100%. I agree. 100%. It's kind of funny. Like we see the industry now and how much these guys aren't on set crews like they were back in the day. They move around a lot. It seems like, unless they're, stationed home-based crew. These guys, they'll jump from crew to crew to crew, unless they're the top end of the crew leader. Usually they stay put, but the other two guys, you could be on 5 different crews in a month, and it's insane.
that
It's
sometimes says something about the guy being traded around. We've seen
exactly
guys that it took a good tech 2 or a top hand to get these guys jump started.
Yeah. Well, that's what
I don't know.
That's what for the company me and you both worked at when I was a crew leader. That's what they used to do with me. I was a crew leader. They used to put these guys on my crew that were either they wanted to run off, they were messing up too much, so you wanted to get them trained up and turn their situation around, or run them off, or get them fired. They called my crew the shit or get off the pot crew.
Yeah,
because we busted ass, and if you didn't keep up, I'm gonna let you know.
I think the thing that helped me out the most, other than having a forgiving boss, was and you'd seen it, I always like to come back to the hotel or whatever, and I'd like to make a list for tomorrow's jobs.
Yep.
And you remember those tomorrow's jobs? They're always way too much. I would overshoot it every time, but I'd never take them off the list. So I'd have 12 things to do. I'd be told, hey, look, we're gonna be lucky if we can get 8 of those done out of the 12.
Yeah.
So I'd never take those 12 away. I'd just, put a line between 8 and 4, the last 4, and I'd just say, okay, we got to get these 8 done. This is our goal for tomorrow. And then the last 4, we're going to call it extra credit. And you remember that. I mean, I was doing that before I even had met you. But you remember it worked. I'd buy you guys gloves. I'd write on your gloves what you had to do for the day, so you could go in an order or create your own order. You remember that? I'd write on the fingers of like some yellow gloves or whatever with the marker.
You never did that with me, I don't think.
Okay.
We just played it by ear. I kind of did the same thing that you did. I kind of took what you taught me, and when I was running a crew, I still do it now. I'll make a list of what we need to get done for the day, or what I like to get done, and then do extra too. And if they hit that, here's my stop point. And if you get into the extra credit, you call it, I always bought the beer, like first round of beer, or
absolutely.
Take them out for steaks or whatever. Just because you want to appreciate their hard work. Granted, when I was working for a company, it was coming out of my pocket. It wasn't coming out of the company's pocket, but I appreciated their work. I don't know. It's just a motivation thing,
Well, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone too, because at that point you can give what your plans are for tomorrow. And then you'll already have a copy of what you got done, and you can send that back in. So it's not real like you're doing a whole lot of extra work, but it does give the crew an idea. I started doing that just because I get the job site and nobody wanted to hop out of the truck. They're like, well, what are we doing? Well, you know what we're doing. We do it this way every time. But for the newer guys, the guys that don't have it down, it helps out immensely. So
I always respected the new guy, because I always told the new guy, you're in the back seat. Obviously, when you get to that site, your ass better be out of that truck, opening that gate, or if I see you just dicking around on your phone, this ain't gonna end well for you. That's the one thing I always wanted to see, the guy out of the truck, because you always see those guys like, oh, I ain't getting out of the truck, or they look at each other like, who's getting out of the truck? Open the gate.
Well,
somebody open the damn gate. Let's go.
the amount of work that the crew chief has, the top hand should be running these guys around. He should be telling them what to do.
Yep.
Getting them busy.
When I was running my crew too, like if I had a lot of stuff to do and we had a long drive, I'm not driving. I'm in the back seat. I jump in the back seat. Someone else is driving. I'll be in the back seat with the laptop open, sending in closeouts, or looking at blueprints, or getting a game plan, or doing what I had to do. Because dude, it sucks working 12, 15-hour days and then going to the hotel when you're dog ass tired and trying to do more paperwork and take some time to decompress, because we both know this industry is hell on your body and hell on your mindset sometimes.
We get done with those cold winters and I never felt more unhealthy. It seemed like it took me a month just to get my health back after being on the rig every day.
Yeah. I remember, like, when I was living in Tennessee, I think I pretty much rode my bike every week except for like 2 or 3 weeks. Except when it was really cold down there, it was icy and sleet and stuff. But I walk outside in shorts or like a t-shirt on. Everybody's bundled up and like it's like 32 degrees. I'm like, are you crazy? It's cold out. It's like, you crazy? It's cold outside. I'm like, do you realize where I come from? This is nothing, man. I'll go climb the tower right now in a sweatshirt. Let's do this. It's just the mindset, and man, my first winter in this industry was fucking brutal, just brutal.
This last winter wasn't much better.
This last winter, comparable to like the last 2 winters we've had, man, I guess the cold was a little bit more this year, but everyone felt the cold this year, I guess. So yeah, I agree with that. But man, I climbed like in 2 blizzards. One was like 900 feet. I had to climb, snowing sideways, windy as hell. Oh, why do I do this to myself? You can't even use the safety climb because you got to chip the ice off the safety climb to go up there, and one time to come back down, you're like, oh, I started double clicking.
Well, we're all in an industry that many don't understand. Yeah, not a lot of people understand. And I thought Jeff Lyon on our last podcast hit it off great. Yeah. You're rooming with these guys, and they've now become possibly more family than what you have at home, especially if you're doing if you're pulling 2 and 3 weeks out and you're back for 2 to 4 days on your rotation. Yeah. I mean, you're rooming with guys, you're spending more time with them than you are your wife or girlfriend or your best friend, whatever it might be. So the camaraderie's got to be there, otherwise it's going to be a long road to hoe for you as a crew member.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next week we're going out to NEIA, right?
Yep.
All right. So next week I'll be in Chicago Monday, NEIA for the 2-3 day stint. And I hope we can get some good pictures, some good video from NEIA. I like it. Yeah. I think it's important. It's nice to get together with all the vendors. It's good to see some of the tower guys there. Not all of them, but some of them. And I like it. And we're going to use this. We're going to use this to report back and tell the climbers that couldn't make it there what went on, other than a golf outing. Well, I mean,
golf. There you go. It's golf.
Well, either way, there's a lot of players there.
I say the next outing, for the tower industry, let's make it paintball. Let's just go to town on each other. Battle royale.
We got to make our own golf outing. Just make our own.
Yeah.
But the NEIA, we're going to report from there.
Yep.
Tell people what we saw. What there's usually some differences, and you get to speak to some good people. My company sends good people there. So, I mean, that's all I got planned. And I'm trying to get Frank on here for Monday. So Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time will be released on YouTube. That'll be not this podcast, but our next our weekly scheduled podcast. And we're supposed to have Frank on.
Yeah.
Get to talk to Frank.
Yep. And, leave messages, give us an email, tell us how we're doing, like and subscribe, share this post or share these YouTube things, these podcasts we're doing. We're trying to get it out there more. We're getting better every time we're doing this. Seems like
we're trying.
So we're trying, we still got things we got to worry about and fix, but every day we're doing this, we're getting better. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah, take care. 7 p.m. Monday will be our weekly. This one will air whenever. Do we have a time for this one? 9 p.m. Fridays. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, 9 p.m. Friday for this one. Boom, what got you in the industry?